Morning, folks. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great morning. Maybe have some coffee and relaxing. Listen, we have an exciting topic this morning. We're going to talk about how to stay out of my office, out of the emergency room, and out of the orthopedic surgeon's office, or worse yet, the surgical suite. Okay. So, hey, we're going to be talking about boating safety, and you might say, well, I don't have a boat. Well, it doesn't matter. Believe me. Everybody at some point in time will have an opportunity to go on a boat. It's important to know the things we're going to go over. And, you know, where we live here at Fort Myers Beach, people are on the boat a lot. So, but regardless of where you're watching this from, I'm going to tell you there's very important information that can keep you safe and could potentially keep you from having a serious injury. So who am I? I'm Dr. Timothy Harcourt. I'm a chiropractic physician, been doing so for 33 years. I cannot believe it. I feel like I just got out of chiropractic college, and here I am 33 years later. I'm a third generation chiropractic physician, and I practice in Fort Myers, Florida. But why am I talking about boating safety? Well, I'm also a sailor. So, and I've been doing it for 30 years. Used to race on a race crew in Annapolis in front of the Naval Academy. And in fact, we raced against the Naval Academy's boat. And so my main position on the race boat was head sail. So anyway, I've been sailing my own boat for about 30 years. And you know, we're going to go over some things to help keep you safe. Now, I'm going to lay the groundwork here to tell you that in our local community, we had, I think it was 3 people break legs in the same day because of not using proper safety precautions. So this is going to be about safety. I mean, we have different topics, but really it all comes back to staying safe. But I'm going to tell you that the most important thing for most trips on a boat is how you get on and off of the boat. More injuries occur getting on and off of the boat than occurs on the boat. Now, it doesn't mean that things can't happen on the boat. It can. We're going to go over that stuff too. But, you know, the most important thing to do when you get on and off of a boat is to maintain a 3-point contact. And what I mean by that, so 2 hands and 2 feet, that's a 4-point contact. That means you're not moving. So when you go to get on the boat, if you have things in your hands and you're trying to get on the boat at the same time, well, when you swing your leg out, you're really at a 1-point contact at that point in time. And that's a really good way to get hurt. And that's how the people in my local community got hurt. But if you have a hold of something with both hands and then you move your 1 foot, you still have 3 points of contact. Really important, because then if you slip with one leg, you can still catch yourself so that you don't break a bone. Worse yet, fall and hit your head, maybe slide down a piling, have the barnacles rip you to pieces. I mean, all kind of stuff. So it's really important to take your time getting on and off a boat. The other thing is, if you're getting on the boat, lay your things on the dock out of the way. Once you're on the boat, then pull the things onto the boat. Or if there's already someone on the boat, hand them your things. Do not try to board the boat with those in your hands. Okay. Really important factor. Same thing is true when you get off of the boat.
Yeah, Dr. Timothy Harcourt here. We're talking about boating safety today. We see a lot of people down here at the beach getting hurt getting on and off their boat. It's pretty common knowledge that most of the time the most dangerous thing you're going to do is getting on and off the boat. We're going to talk about safety procedures for that. So whenever getting off of a boat, the very first thing you want to do is to put whatever you need to take off the boat on the dock. Do not try to carry it onto the dock, and don't try to just throw it over there. Get the boat over at a point where it's easy to do so. Don't put it where you're going to be stepping, obviously. So now the next thing is You want full control of the boat, especially in heavy wind. This is a line tied to the piling here. You want a 3-point contact. I have 2 feet down and 1 arm on here. I have a 4-point contact right now. It's impossible to make a step with a 4-point contact, so I'm gonna let go of the sail and grab a hold of here. I have 3 points, back to 4 points, and I'm on the dock. That's a proper departure from a sailboat. Then the next thing we want to talk about is how to properly get on a boat. So don't ever try to get on a boat with things in your hands. It's a good way to fall and get hurt. So how do you do that? You isolate events. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the boat over to the dock, bring the boat to us, and I'm going to place my bag on the boat. That's one less thing I have to worry about. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to maintain a 3-point contact. So you're going to bring the boat over to you. Especially important in high winds away from the dock. I have a 3-point right here, 4-point, back to 3-point, 4-point. So you maintain control of your body. In the event that you did slip with 1 foot, you would still have either 2 hands to grab you, but you're already grabbing hold of something. This makes for a much safer situation.
Right in the very beginning, we went over the most important thing to keep yourself safe. But before we even think about going on the boat, what's the weather going to be like? And you need to check multiple different sources. The really beautiful thing nowadays is on your smartphone, you can get the radar app and you can see, well, what's headed your way, you know? And you can expand that out to several hundred miles and just see, I mean, is anything crazy coming your way or not? Now, it doesn't mean it couldn't crop up. Just because it's not on there now doesn't mean it couldn't just pop up, especially in Florida. We get those pop-up storms, not necessarily coming the whole way across the state, might pop up a few miles away from where we're at. But you get the weather predictions on the local news. You can go on several different platforms on your smartphone. There's Wind Finder, Tides Near Me, plus your regular weather reports and on your radar. So you look at all that stuff and you need to be aware of what the weather conditions are going to be when you go on a boat. And I would recommend that even if you're not the captain of the boat. And we'll go into in just a few minutes why that's important. The next thing to consider is the crew on the boat and what you're actually trying to do that day. So obviously, if you're going on a sailboat, you're probably going to be sailing, right? And it's important to know, who's going to be on the boat and what their capabilities are when you get on the boat, especially if that matches the conditions. So let's talk about the conditions right away. Hey, listen, if you're in doubt, don't go out. I mean, it's kind of like you smell something in your refrigerator and you're not sure if it's good or not. When in doubt, throw it out. Well, when you're looking at the weather reports and things look marginal and maybe your crew isn't very experienced, maybe it's a good thing to say, you know what, today's not the day to go out. That's the safer bet. And you know, you can avoid a lot of heartache and pain if you avoid a situation like that. Then provisions for while you're on the boat. One of the most important provision that you can take is water, and you should take more water than you think you're going to need. By the way, when you're on the water, you need about double the amount of water intake than when you're on land. Why? Because the sun is hitting you directly, and it's also hitting the surface of the water and bouncing up and hitting you. So you dehydrate quicker. And of course, one of the real risks with dehydration is a deep vein thrombosis, which you don't want. So that's something personally that I've experienced, and it's not something that you really want to go through. The next thing is you should have at least 2 forms of communication. So VHF radio and a cell phone. And by the way, that cell phone, most VHF marine radios are water resistant and float. But the cell phone is not. I haven't found a cell phone yet that you can throw in the water, it'll float, you can pick it up and use it again. Maybe one exists, but I don't know where it is. It sure isn't mine. So you need to keep that in a Ziploc bag or something like that to keep it dry. You know, you never know. Getting, you know, handing your bags over, different things, crazy things can happen. So keep your cell phones in a Ziploc bag or some sort of a waterproof bag. And then the next thing is, in general, safety. So we better have a life jacket for every person. You know, well, yeah, you know, we don't need a life jacket. Yeah, you do. You need a life jacket because you never know what's going to happen. Well, first of all, it's the rules. But the second thing is you never know what's going to happen when you're out on the water. And if you don't have adequate PFDs, it's too late. So anyway, and you should have a ring too, because if somebody falls in the water, even if they have the life jacket on, it's nice to throw the ring to them with a line on it and pull them back in. So anyway, safety is really important in a lot of different ways when it comes to boating. And then the next thing is your tides. So now I know some of you are around lakes and you don't have to worry about the tides, but we're here in the Gulf of Mexico and the tides have a pretty significant impact on your day. So how can that change your day? Well, let's just say you go out and the tides are heading out. And you decide to park your boat right on top of a sandbar, but you didn't bother to check the tide chart or on your smartphone app, and now the tides are going out, and guess what? You could get to the point where your boat will not leave the sandbar, and it might take hours for that tide to come back in, and maybe the weather's getting bad. Now all of a sudden you're putting yourself at risk, and you didn't need to do that. So always be aware of the tides. And the other thing is there's a significant difference in the tides here. Not like the Bay of Fundy, you know, where there's severe difference in tides, but it could be anywhere from 2 to 3.5 feet here. So that's a big difference when you're getting on a boat. Something to keep in mind if you're trying to get on or disembark from a boat with an extremely low tide. It might be difficult for some of your crew members to do that. In fact, it might be next to impossible for them to get off in that scenario. So that's important to remember. And, you know, the thing is, if, you know, preparation is a huge part of proper boating safety. You need to just think about, you know, what you're planning to do that day, how long you're planning to be out. You should know the waves before you go out. Is your craft able to handle that? Is there a small craft advisory? You know, that type of thing. So when in doubt, don't go out. The key is to keep yourself safe. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. People ask how much water. Well, I generally take about 4 large water bottles filled with water. Sometimes I'll put ice in a cooler if I'm going to be out there for any length of time. And yes, do I have some left over? Usually. Is that a good thing? It is for me, and I think it is for you too. We should talk about alcohol. You know, the captain or skipper shouldn't consume any alcohol because you know, the other thing is things can come up and you need to be sharp, and it's your responsibility to keep the crew safe. So you need to avoid that. There's going to be time for that when you dock the boat and you guys are, you know, talking about the day. That's fine, but not out on the water. So, you know, that's pretty much the long and short of it. The real key here is to keep yourself safe and all the crew members safe. So that you don't end up in the emergency room. I mean, let's face it, people are more worried about going to the hospital now than ever. So if you keep yourself safe and good use preparation, pre-thought to your trip, it is going to be helpful. And I did kind of allude to why you should check the weather even if you're not the skipper. Well, let's just say you're going out with somebody and you don't know who they are. There's a few things that I would ask them before I got in the boat with them, like, skipper, what's the weather looking like today? And if they say, I have no idea, I didn't check it yet. So what are the plans today? Well, we're just going to go out and run around a little bit. You know, if they really don't know what they're doing, they don't know what the weather conditions are, they haven't done any pre-thought, they haven't done any planning. That's something you might want to consider whether you want to go on that boat or not. I've had at least one patient here break their back because they went out with somebody that really had little or no experience in boating and was going way too fast through heavy waves, and ended up causing a compression fracture in her back. So, it's okay to ask questions before you get on somebody else's boat and go with them. It's okay to do that because you know what? It's your health and it's your life. So, keeping all these things in mind, it should allow you to have a safe, fun time on the water. And that's really the key. And by the way, we've also seen patients that got stuck on the sandbar and trying to push their boat off and hurt their back. So that helps to keep you out of my office as well, as if you're paying attention to the tides. And if the tides are going out and you still want to be on the sandbar, you can do it. Just don't park your boat on top of the sandbar. Park it away from the sandbar, anchor it out there, and then put your chairs on the sandbar, whatever it is you have planned. Florida has some beautiful areas to take advantage of that type of thing. And you just got to be aware of what's going on. So we hope there's at least something that we went over today that's helpful to you, that keeps you safer, keeps you out of my office, emergency room, the orthopedic surgeon's surgical suite. Remember to stay strong, stay healthy, and whatever you do, stay creative. Make something today that you didn't have, that didn't exist when you woke up. All right, we'll see you next week. Signing off, Dr. Harcourt. Have a good